Today on the Ortho Wire podcast, we will be making this, a flipper. Mainly, I'm going to be showing how to take a tooth off of a card, grinding it into place on a model, and that's about it. This part is like a regular Holly, the acrylic part. So mainly I'm just going to be concentrating on how to grind this onto here to make it look good. Alright, let's get started. So what I'm going to do is take this lateral and whittle it down, pretty much whittling it down to try to make it look like this one, or match between the out of the gums. And so doing that, not to make your gum line way up here or way down here. You want it even with these other two, or a little bit lower, so that the tooth will impinge on the gums ever so slightly, so that the tooth will look like it's coming out of the gums naturally, like a natural tooth. I don't like start grinding on the tooth now. Okay, I got my tooth here. These are Heraes-Kulzer Arctic teeth. These are good for not too expensive, like real denture teeth. These are real denture teeth, but they look good for not costing so much, so I keep the price down. And again, most of these flippers are temporary until the kid grows up and can get implants or something like that. You figure out where we need to cut first. Obviously, we need to thin it down so it fits in that slot between those teeth better to shorten it. So let me start with the thinning. I'm just using a regular old acrylic burr. These Pontics tend to come with the way they're made, there's a little seam on there. I wonder if I can get a good close-up shot of that. Seam on there. So first things first, take that seam off. Okay, we're a little bit closer. You know what I'm going to go ahead and do, this comes with a collar on it, if you can see. Let me snap a picture so you can see it. So you can see like a little collar. So what that is when you make a denture, the ridges are a lot smaller because there's no roots of other teeth in the ridge, and so all this is embedded in wax or acrylic, and so they'll bring pink acrylic all the way down to the start of this collar, and then it makes it look like a real tooth, like there's a root. So look at your mouth, and sometimes you can see a shadow of your root showing through the pink gums, and that's what that collar is for. But we don't need it for the way we're doing this. So I'm just going to cut it down to that. Okay, it looks like it needs to come in a little bit. I'm gonna try to trim this in a polygon shape, a rhombozoid shape, where it's skinnier here and wider up here, to see if it can fit in there better. Okay, there's that shape. Okay, so you got that hump right there. Now remember, the gum line goes like this, and we want to start it here at the top of this tooth, at the gum line, and then arc it down. So I'm going to take out this area right here. Here's a tip that I got from somebody online. The tooth is popping out. Take some sticky wax and roll it between your fingers. Wait, adds a little tackiness to your fingers. Okay, let's see what that did. Notice this is just a bunch of trial and error, but try not to make too many errors. Where are we hitting? Now, one thing that an old school gentleman told me to do is take a number 2 pencil. Kind of move it back and forth just a little bit, and then see where it's hitting. So I can take all those down. Again, you just want to be slow and steady on this, because you don't want to make a wrong cut and have to start all over. Again, it's not... I think I got it thin enough, side to side, width-wise, so I think I need to take off more of that. Okay, I think I got the height down. What I don't like to do is adjust this edge until the very, very, very last, because if you... looks like we are touching on the sides again. There and there. So I'm going to work on that some more. Again, I try to always cut from the back of the tooth to the front, not start on the front. Don't mind taking too much off of this tissue side, because I do want acrylic to get in there anyway, the pink acrylic, and be able to attach to the tooth to the base palette acrylic. Sometimes you have to reapply. Okay, I have a little tacky substance here, but you can use clay. This is called Model Blockout that I get from Great Lakes. It's actually white, but with all the graphite and touching it and stuff, it's turning gray. But you can use clay if you want. But I like to stick it in the open area. Put my tooth in there so it's... So the one thing I need to do is, you see how the facial of this is further in, and we rotate this around and this facial's sticking out. You can see that right there. So I'm going to whittle, grind on the tissue side of this and see if I can get this to tuck in a little better. Yeah, it sunk down just a little bit more. I need to work right here on the tooth, right here underneath this tooth, and maybe a little bit here, or actually sloped or concave And so it's a little higher here, a little higher here. That means that your tooth on the inside is going to need to be convex. So let me take down these sides a little. Go ahead and take off this. I'm taking it. And as you change things slowly, you got to check all your width and your height and make sure nothing's changed. It's kind of work on my width some more. See if I can get the seat better. Try not to make any hard angles when you're grinding your tooth, because hard angles really do not exist in nature. So I'm kind of rocking it a little bit, and wherever it's rocking, that's the high point. That's what you need to trim down. Now you don't want to go too deep toward the facial, because you'll get a gray spot. I've done that numerous times. You'll get too far in there and it'll fill in with pink acrylic and you'll get a pink spot or a gray spot right on the facial. And the kids usually don't like that. There we go. Now, I'm going to make an undercut. I have put that hole in such a way where it's easy to get acrylic in there. We use salt and pepper method, and I'll try to get a video of that. We use salt and pepper method, and you want the wet acrylic to be able to flow in there without trapping any air bubbles. I love my steamer. If y'all don't have a steamer, maybe a toothbrush and some water, and scrubbing it will take it off. Let me trim this off so you can see it better. This tooth is a little more flat. This tooth, they've added, I may take that down. See, it's got kind of a triangle point to it. See that? And this one doesn't. So I'm going to take that off, and I'm going to take this down just a little bit.
The way I do it takes a while, but the patient's really happy with how natural it looks. Okay, take the characterization out. I'm going to round this. Flatten this just a little bit. Much to change the look and the shape of those teeth. You want your lateral to be more coming in. These are just straight on like that. You want your lateral to have just a little bit of mesial angle to them. That's the way natural ones are. These are straight on, these are straight on. These are a little bit off. Okay.
Gum line of this again. See if I can get it to tuck up in there better.
Usually the last thing is I'll curl this plastic tooth into the stone. I'll like round it into the stone right now. It's got a little bit of an edge. See that edge? I'm going to take that edge off. And what I like to do is just hold it against my thumb. What my gum is the gum. My thumb is the gums in the kitchen food. So you'll see.
The tissue a little bit. It will blanch the tissue for a little while, but then the gum tissue will adapt. And will actually start forming around that like a natural gum tissue. Round off the gingival part again, because when you go in there at this angle and you grind on it, you're going to make a right angle, and so you don't want that right angle. So you're going to want to round off that right angle, because we're going to pumice it when we pumice this retainer. I'm going to make the lip doesn't look unnatural, because you don't know where the lip is. It could be down here, it could be way up here, and that way you can see everything. So let's stop there while we're... Okay, through the magic of videos, I have already bent the wires, put separator, or blocked out with pink wax. Anything I thought would be to undercut. One more undercut that I need to get is right in this area. So you chip some pink wax. What happen is you'll get acrylic trapped in there, and it doesn't flex, and so we break off those teeth. Let me check my Pontic here. Okay, we're still good. Now, attaching the tooth. First you have to attach it to the model before you can attach it to the acrylic. You got to keep it stable. You don't want that thing floating around in the pressure pot. So what I do is I use my little clay, my little tack here. Set the tooth right where I want it. Double check everything, because this is permanent once you do this. Now, one tip I suggest is, now we gently, you can kind of see the impression of it. And so then there's access for the acrylic to get underneath there. Okay, so that's it. And I'll see if I can snap some pictures and stuff of the other parts. Yeah, and that's it. All the rest is like a regular retainer. Yeah. Alright. Some helpful tips when you're pumicing is just do real light. I would do this one-handed. Real light. Keep the edge. Keep the pumice wheel off this edge. It will, and corners. Don't go in here willy-nilly and just pumice crazy. Do it like it's a square. Alright, just be real careful. Pumice the rest like a retainer, but when you're pumicing here, keep an eye on the front of the tooth. You don't want to, this will eat down your edge and make it look funny. I've had people pumice my retainers and they've rounded off both edges, make it look like a spike, make it look like a canine, and that's what you do not want. So, just some helpful tips on pumicing this. Okay, here is the finished flipper with the Pontic in there. Alright. My teeth broke off, so try to keep your teeth when they break off when you pull the retainer off of the model. That way you can glue them back on, you can check and make sure that this didn't slip down while you were pouring up or while it was in the pressure pot. But anyway, there is your no bubbles, so my acrylic guy did an excellent job not getting any bubbles in there, because you don't want to get bubbles in there because then you'll have to repair it, and repairing it runs the risk of adding too much acrylic and this not seating down all the way and it not fitting good then, because then you'll cure it in place. Another thing of seating it is called path of insertion, and you just got to be careful that there's not any undercuts. But there you go.